Welcome back to the Case for Tesla. Today we're going to be reviewing ARK Invest's price target of $2,600 by 2029 and breaking down why this may be possible and why it might not be possible.
For the stock is now $2,600 per share. And joining us right now, first on CNBC at the table, is Cathie Wood, CEO and CIO of ARK Invest. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Andrew and Becky.
I very much want to talk about this price target, but I want to talk about this vote for just a moment.
Yes.
I know you supported his compensation
Absolutely.
package. Did you expect, and look, things can still change, but it seems like some of the big institutional shareholders broke for Musk late last night.
So what they're talking about here is the vote that occurred about 2 months ago in relation to Elon Musk's compensation package from years ago that was voted on by shareholders and approved. The Delaware courts, call it corruption, call it whatever you want. It was very odd that they canceled his compensation package. Imagine working for several years, working your butt off day and night, turning the company around and making it one of the most valuable companies in the marketplace. And then all of a sudden a judge comes around and says, you're not going to get paid for any of that. Completely ridiculous.
Retail seemed to have broke for him earlier than that.
Yes.
But were you expecting that? And what do you think, if in fact this is the verdict, if you will, or the vote, what do you expect is going to happen next? Because it doesn't seem like the game will be totally over, because this is, of course, probably going to go back to court.
Even if it does go back to court, I mean, really? It doesn't make any sense at all. Shareholders have voted twice now and have twice approved his compensation package. So for a judge to turn around and deny Elon's compensation package, it would be absolutely ridiculous. It would destroy Delaware's hold on corporations, and corporations will leave, just like Tesla did. They're going to move their headquarters, they're going to move their incorporation, they're going to move away from Delaware, and guess what? Other companies are going to follow suit, and that is not a good look for Delaware.
Well, first of all, you broke that news about the institutions, and I was surprised, actually, and pleased. But I do think what has happened here, it really started with ESG and all of the drama around that. And it got these large index players to say, wait a minute, should we be voting all of these shares? We should be taking into account some of our clients' preferences. And so...
Yeah, so there you go. So institutional investors, luckily they smartened up and realized it was not a good idea to vote against Elon's compensation package.
$2,600 a share.
Yes.
Help us do the math. How do you get there? What has to happen for all of that?
Get there?
This is a 5-year price target, as all of ours are. And what has to happen is an autonomous taxi platform, Tesla's autonomous taxi platform.
And I've spoken about this on the channel in prior videos, but really the next phase for Tesla's growth is going to be robotaxis, FSD, autonomous vehicles. The next phase after that, you know, it's debatable which way it goes, but it's probably going to be related to AI and then robotics. But if you think back to the early days of Tesla, first it was creating an EV platform that was scalable, that could bring in massive amounts of profits and so forth. Now that they've proven that, and now that they're the leader in the EV market, now the next phase of their growth is going to come from autonomy. And given that the latest versions of FSD as of August 2024 is showing massive promise, I think it's obvious that we're on the cusp of solving autonomy. And once they do, robotaxis are going to take over the marketplace, and Tesla is going to be the leader in that area as well. So if Tesla, does it by 2029 and solves autonomy, there's no doubt that it'll hit that $2,600 number that ARK Invest has thrown out there. However, if there's delays, either from Tesla's end or from regulators' ends, for whatever reason, by 2029, then I do not think that $2,600 price target is going to happen.
So robotaxis, which is a SaaS-like model. Instead of selling a car and maybe the software package, and that's it, this becomes a recurring revenue model, a slice of every mile driven on that autonomous taxi network.
And this is really important to remember. This is not just a car company. Many people in the mainstream media will tell you that this is a car company, but this is beyond a car company. Sure, over the past, few years, sure, the majority of their revenue, the majority of their profits have come from vehicle sales. But there are two things on the horizon that Wall Street has been sleeping on, and some people are starting to slowly wake up. One is the energy business. I think people are starting to realize, oh, wait, there's actually a massive market for this, and it's quite profitable for Tesla. And then the second, which I think everybody's still sleeping on, which is what ARK Invest here is talking about, and that is robotaxis and autonomy.
Work. Very high margins. Right now, auto gross margins are around 16%. Gross margins in the SaaS world are more like 80%.
How big a market does that have to become for Tesla to get to the $2,600 price? The reason I ask is there are some cities that may allow this to take place. There may be geofenced areas where people are going to do this. And there's also obviously a larger view that one day these cars will be able to do everything by themselves everywhere in the country.
Yes. Well, this is the largest AI project on Earth.
So I think what CNBC here is saying, and I think this is what most of mainstream media is saying, is that regulators may stop Tesla from launching their robotaxi network and autonomous vehicles, which is possible. I don't think they're going to stop it forever. I think there's going to be a potential delay in regulators wanting to see the data, going through the bureaucratic red tape that they have to go through to approve autonomous vehicles and robotaxis in their areas. However, I think they would be dumb not to approve it, given that Tesla continues to prove that there is safety benefits in autonomous vehicles. And I think once they start launching the robotaxi network across different regions of the world, there will be undisputable data to prove that that it's not just, 2 or 3 or 4 times safer than a human driver, but at least 10 times safer than a human driver. And once you have that, the regulators will have no choice but to start approving it and start working on that approval process. Again, will that happen by 2029 in all the regions that Tesla wants to be in? I don't think so. I think it will be a slower process. However, as more and more data is collected and shared with these regulators, I think the faster and faster the regulators will start approving these autonomous networks. So I think this is a moot point. Again, whether it happens in 2029, happens in 2031, at some point it's going to happen. And I think the risk with ARK's price target here of $2,600 is that, right? It's the delay either on Tesla's end in terms of getting the robotaxi network and the autonomous piece solved. In my own opinion, I think it will be solved by 2029. However, the other part is the regulators and how quickly they'll react to this.
Autonomous mobility broadly, and I think it's going to catch on as quickly as that. Now, of course, what we've had during the last 10 years is a movement toward FSD, and now we're seeing safety statistics. And I remember
exactly what I just mentioned, right? So safety statistics, more miles driven on FSD, the more miles driven on robotaxis eventually, the more data is going to be collected, and the more evidence there's going to be that robotaxis and autonomous vehicles are 10 times or more safer than a human driver. And at that point, regulators will have no choice but to approve autonomous vehicles and robotaxis in their respective regions. Listening in on what the mainstream media thinks about Tesla and their price targets, along with ARK Invest's crazy price target of $2,600 in 2029, doesn't seem so crazy once you break it down and look at the numbers. The only real risk that I see here is the delays either on Tesla's end in terms of rolling out FSD and robotaxis, which is possible, but I give it a very small, minuscule, 1% chance of that happening. 99% chance, in my opinion, that Tesla will solve autonomy well before 2029. And once they do, it's up to the regulators then to start reviewing the data and approving it in their respective regions, which may or may not happen by 2029, but eventually will. So again, that $2,600 price target for 2029, I think there's a good chance that could happen, but there's also a small chance that it may get pushed out by a few years. So what do you think? Do you think ARK Invest's price target of $2,600 by 2029 is possible? Or do you see massive challenges ahead? Or do you think that Tesla will never hit that $2,600 price target? Let me know down below in the comments section. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more insights into Tesla and how this company is transforming our lives.